Hello, everyone. How are you guys? I missed you. It's only been a couple days, but I do miss you guys. Hey, Judy Holiday, how are you? So good to have you with us tonight. Hey, Lynn, always a pleasure. Hey, Jacqueline Keeley, welcome. Hi, Olivia. How are you? Hey, CJK, good to see you. Hey, Maria, so good to have you here. Hi, Jennifer. How are you? Hey, Michelle. So good to have you guys here. Welcome, welcome. Hi, Allie. How are you? Hey, Miss Thang. So good to see you. Hi, country girl. Hey, Just Pam. So good to have you here. Hey, DGR Dave. Good to see you. Melodramatic Monday. Always good to have you here. Hey, Tech Death. Good to see you. Welcome. It's good to have you guys all here. So did everybody have a good long weekend? Let's hope that everybody did, stayed safe. There was some obviously awful news over the long 4th of July weekend. Just horrific stuff coming out of my state this time. It was very, very sad. But it's good to see you all. I just, I can't get over the fact that we just keep having these shootings and there doesn't seem to be any end to it. And I don't want to go there tonight, but I just, it's upsetting. It's so upsetting. So something has to change in this country. Something has to change. Prayers and saying we're sorry isn't doing it. Hey, Lipsha, so good to see you. So good to see you. So, yeah, so tragic, and that's the sad thing is there's always so many warning signs that went unnoticed, and it's or people just overlooked, and we have to stop overlooking that stuff. We just do. Hey, Woodland Star, how are you? Good to have you here. Yeah, Tech Death, social media is part of the issue for sure, but there's so many underlying things that we could do besides that. That's going to be a hard fix, but there's things that we could do besides that to fix things really fast. And the country's not willing to get behind it and do it. But anyway, we're not going to get into the politics of it tonight. One of the things that I did want to say for all of you that are watching and that come out and support my channel by being here every live, I do want to extend to you the ability now to join my channel and be a part of my members only community. I am going to start having member only content. I'm going to soon have members only Facebook group where we can meet and talk and discuss things outside of the live streams. You guys can also meet there and discuss things between yourselves. I will be posting more member only content as my memberships grow. One of the things that I do want to start doing is a membership only Q&A. So ask me anythings kind of thing. and I thought that those would be fun. And I also would like to start doing some fun stuff with my members as well. So those are things that are in the planning stages. I have a lot of help behind the scenes right now. Jennifer Rochelle, who is my mod here, has been helping me tremendously. She is amazing, and she has been well into helping YouTube channels for quite a long time, and she's helping me get my channel really set with a good foundation, because I really do want you guys to feel that when you are joining my membership and you're supporting the channel, that you're getting something out of it and something back in return. I don't want to be one of those content creators that do not appreciate my subscribers, because without you guys being here every single live or supporting me, I wouldn't be able to really continue to do what I do. And it wouldn't really be beneficial. I really want to help people. So getting my name out there and getting out the channel's name and what we're doing here and what we're trying to do here, I think will only help the voice, giving voices back to the voiceless, which is exactly what I really want to be able to do. And I appreciate all of you, not just Jennifer. I appreciate True Crime Maria, Tech Death, Michelle, Grismatically, John. I don't think John's here yet, but I'm sure he may be here later. All of you who have the wrench, you know that I care. I want to tell all of you that are here, we need to have a meeting on Discord. If you guys are available after the live, can you please stop in to the mods chat on Discord? I do want to talk to all of you briefly. If that doesn't work out, then we need to get a mod meeting, because I really would like to go over some things with you guys and talk about some of the growth that we can do. And the guinea pigs are awesome. You know, Tech Death is, he's not only a fantastic musician and does my intro and outro music, but he also raises guinea pigs. So if any of you love guinea pigs and you live near him, you can get some really great guinea pigs. Jennifer is a kind soul, Melodramatic Monday. She is amazing. The things that she does behind the scenes to help keep our chats running smoothly and making sure that everyone has a nice experience here. Maria does the same thing when she's here. All of them. Michelle has given us so much information because of the job that she does. And I can't thank her enough. I mean, who am I to be so lucky to have a moderator in my channel that's an actual CSI? I mean, you know, to have a crime scene investigator with us every single live is a wealth of help. I can go to her and ask questions, and she's, you know, we've had her on, she's called in, she spoke to us, and it's been great. So I appreciate all of you. And I wanted to say that tonight before we got started, because I don't want you guys to feel like I forget that you're out there, because I don't. I really appreciate you all so very much. So tonight, what I thought we were going to talk about, there's a few things. I wanted to get that stuff out of the way. So everybody, if you would, you know, just recognize that they do a lot of good for our channel and a lot of good for your chat. They're all very helpful. If you have questions and you want to ask a question of me, remember what I told you guys the other night. I think I still have a banner for it. Maybe just a minute. Oh, let's see. Yep. So if you guys want to ask a question of me, if you put #ask in the comments section, it helps me to see it better. And then my mods can also see that you want to ask me a question. And so by doing that, it helps to facilitate getting those questions answered. A lot of times I get so involved in my content that I'm giving you that I forget that there's questions going on out there. And I apologize to all of you. I really, really want to make sure that you guys are getting those questions asked. So, why is Jennifer my favorite? Jennifer, you are hilarious because she makes me laugh. That's why she's my favorite. No, I'm kidding. Um, oh, Woodland, you are so nice. So nice. Thank you so much. We try hard here. I couldn't do it without all of you. So just keep that in mind. You guys help to make the channel what it is. This is our community. And yes, I have rules, but you guys help make those rules. So as we get new people and more, the channel keeps growing. Hey, Vince, so nice to see you. And as the channel keeps growing, you guys help to lead that chat and to let people know what we allow here and what we don't. So those are all good things. But tonight I was going to talk about a couple of different things. What about the fact have we all thought of, and I'm sure we have over time, but what would it be like, or what would it seem like if I want to preface this the right way when I bring this up. Have you guys thought about whether or not Bridge Guy has actually murdered before? Because I have. I have for a long time. I've wondered, did this start out as, has this person always been violent? Has this person always wanted to hurt other people? Did it start out when they were young? And were they hurting animals first? Then did they turn on doing some of the other behaviors that we all have learned about? I've talked about them with you now for 5 months. Some of the characteristics that a person who commits this kind of crime has. And most often these offenders, this isn't their first time. Most often they have committed, and especially when you have a double homicide. When you have a double homicide of children in the middle of the day, that is a very bold killer. That is someone who's very, very confident in themselves and feels like they can get away with most anything. And I know that it's very, very possible that it is the first time that they went out to do this. Maybe they were only expecting to have one person there and ended up having both of the girls. Maybe that was not something that they expected. Hey, Broken Pinky Promises, good to see you. Hey, Sally Ann, welcome. Mods, make sure you guys are welcoming all of our new guests into the chat. Thank you so much. And, just being, I don't know. There's just something about this that makes me think that this guy has committed crime before and possibly murders. And one of the things that stuck out to me when we're talking about Delphi, we know that the Kleins have been brought up by law enforcement. They're the ones who brought law enforcement. Law enforcement's the ones who brought the Kleins to us. Hey, John, so glad you're here. And it's really important to remember that Kagan Klein and Tony Klein weren't put out there in the airwaves by anyone else but law enforcement. And they have allowed, in my opinion, information to flow into the realm of media, social media, mainstream media about this crime. And there's a reason they've done that. Law enforcement, very rarely do they just do things. They don't, in fact, I don't think they ever do things on a whim. They don't just say, oh, let's throw this at the wall and see if it sticks. They have strategic plans that they lay out. They talk amongst themselves. They discuss this strategic plan that they have, and then they act on it. And I think that, obviously, if they get to a point where they feel like, well, maybe things are slowing down and we need more information, or we need tips, or whatever, then law enforcement may certainly do some things to try to shuffle that stuff out or shake that stuff out in various different ways. Now that we have social media and it's so rampant, and we have so much true crime genre out there, we have people that are able to, at the snap of the finger, you can find most anything you're looking for on the World Wide Web. What better place to throw out information to see if you're going to get tips back that you need? And I believe that law enforcement has been doing that. They've definitely been doing that since December. Gonzo, hello, my friend. It's so awesome to always see you. How are you? Thank you, Gonzo. But yeah, they have done these things for reasons that we may not be aware of why they're doing them. And I think that there's a lot of really smart people out there trying to figure out why they're doing it. And I'm here to tell you that they've done all this on purpose. So with that being said, one of the things that I've been doing, and I've been trying to research and kind of figure out, because you guys know that I'm also really deep diving into flora, and I know that there's people out there that absolutely refuse to believe that these cases are at any way connected. They don't believe it. They'll never be convinced of it. And Gonzo, how did you do that? What were you doing? I know what you were doing last week, but how did you do that? I do know what you were doing last week, but I'm glad that you can hear me. But anyway, Michelle, you are hilarious. You and Jennifer always make me laugh. I figured it was from cliff diving. Please be safe. You know how I worry. So, I've been deep diving, and I've been looking at a lot of different unsolved cases in Indiana, in the area around northern Indiana, where Delphi and all of these little small cities are. And there has been so much that I had no idea how many unsolved murders of children there are in this area. It's mind-blowing. I mean, seriously, you guys, when you start looking at this, it's scary. It makes me really believe that there's somebody out there killing our children. And I don't know if what I'm going to talk about tonight has anything at all to do with Bridge Guy. It may not. But all I'm saying is somebody needs to be looking at these unsolved murders and what's going on and who's committing them. And do we have an actual serial killer that's active? And as we all know, serial killers don't always kill in a pattern. They will kill and go dormant for a little bit and then kill again. It's not like, I always go back to BTK. I don't know why, but we have to look at what he did. And so keep that in mind when we talk about this next case, because I really can't believe it. So Brandie Peltz was 11 years old back in December of 1986. She was murdered December the 11th of 1986. Her case just breaks my heart. There's a lot of similarities in her case with Delphi, in my opinion. But there's also a lot of similarities in her case when you look at it with what happened in Flora. There was a shack across the street in her case. The offender could have been in that shack and stalked her. A witness possibly even remembered seeing the curtains drawn in that shack and saw them moving as if someone was in there. It was in really rough shape, the shack was. Brandie received obscene phone calls in the days prior to her murder. She was getting heavy breathing phone calls at home, and the days and weeks that led up to her being killed, her parents didn't contact police, but they did contact the phone company about it, and they were trying to figure out who was doing this. You have to remember, back in 1986, we didn't have cell phones. So we didn't have the internet. So this was a whole different time of murder and investigation and all of that. So this took place not long after Tony Klein was seen and was accused of stalking a high school girl that he went to school with home on the walk home from school, and how he hid in bushes and was stalking her as she walked home from school. And this case happened very soon after that incident with Tony. And she, like I said, was killed in December. Tony would have been 18 at the time. So I have no way of knowing if Tony Klein was in this town where this happened or not, but I just want you to see the similarities of some of the things we know about the Delphi case, because they always say that these predators escalate. Jennifer, thank you so much for the super sticker. How kind of you. Thank you so much. Tony was charged in 2009 for the harassing phone calls that he was making, the obscene phone calls that he was making. And Brandie was getting those eerie phone calls as well. It's still unsolved to this day. So what happened to Brandie? It happened in Argos, Indiana. which is close to South Bend. And she was the only child of her parents, and her parents both worked. And she had been homesick for a week, almost a full week, with the flu. And supposedly, she was found by a passerby around 3 p.m. on a Thursday afternoon in her burning home. Her home was on fire. She was face down in a full bathtub of water downstairs, and the home is about 11 miles north of Rochester. So we can look at a map in a minute and see if we can figure out where that is. The Marshall County Police investigated her death as both arson and a murder. They believed that the arson was set, the fire was set to cover up the murder and probably to do away with evidence. I mean, why would they put her body in a full bathtub of water? They were hoping it was going to wash away DNA. Positive that that's why that happened. She was sexually assaulted. And she went to the Argos Elementary School. She was in 5th grade, and she was strangled, was her method of death. They still don't have really any leads in the case. No one, everything, the forensic pathologist was a Dr. Rick Hoover, and he said nothing pointed to anything but homicide. Nothing else but that. And they do not believe that it was an accidental fire. They also believe that the person who stopped to report the fire could very well be the perpetrator. But they had nothing to show for that. They never had anything concrete to prove that. It was a neighbor that happened to be driving by, who saw smoke. He drove to another house, told them to call the fire department, and they've never identified who this person was. And he then drove back to the house, and he took out the family's dog and saved that dog. And that's when he discovered her body. And he attempted to revive her, but she was already gone. And again, she was their only child. And the family had been receiving these harassing, obscene type phone calls for weeks prior to their daughter's murder. And there was never any conversation in them. It was extreme heavy breathing, and then the caller would hang up. What else? Let's see. Hang on one second. On December 14th of 1986, the Logansport Pharaoh Tribune reported that a family friend said that she had been found strangled in her burning home, apparently receiving an obscene telephone call just a few hours before her death. She was home alone when she was attacked on Thursday, and authorities said the girl had had the flu. She had not attended school all week, and police had confirmed that the obscene phone calls absolutely took place. The victim's mother, Roxy, notified the telephone company about an unidentified caller who was not speaking but was breathing heavily. And the co-manager, Doris Stevenson, of the hardware store where the mother worked, said she received a phone call from her daughter that morning who said that she had received another obscene phone call. And several hours later is when she was found murdered. It's still a cold case. Marshall County Prosecutor's Office involved the state police. It was the first time that they had been asked to look into the homicide. And what was really interesting is that a novel was written about her murder by a Northwest Indiana businessman and author Thomas Ray Crowell, and it was self-published in late 2008 and brought the case to the forefront. It's called The Passerby is the name of his book. It's based on the murder, and he writes about a curious man and his assistant who learn of the murder, develop a theory about the assailant, and then set out to prove their theory. He feels the case was never investigated enough. And he said that it needs to be reinvestigated. That's why it was never solved. And he said he always thought the key suspect and the number one person of interest is that passerby. Now, you know, and I know, if you follow true crime at all, if you follow it at all, you know that, what was I trying to say? A lot of times, not only at fires, but crimes themselves, the person who reports the crime is the person who actually committed the crime. And it happens a lot. Lynn, what's this? Ask John rescued a girl from a fire and later on she got murdered. Who's John? What are we talking about? Sorry. Yeah, I never understood why men feel that they have to call and do the heavy breathing. It's really weird. Have you listened to the podcast that's focused on just this case? I can't recall the name of it off the top of my head. No, I have not heard that, Maria, but I would really like to know what it is, because I really think that it's important. This case needs to be investigated no matter what. The fact that this guy thought that the passerby is the key I thought was quite interesting, that he went on to even write a book about it. Anyone with any information regarding Brandie's case is urged to call ISP Detective Tom Littlefield. And his phone number is 574-546-4900. So in October of 2014, 28 years after the horrific murder of Brandie, Argos natives gathered to remember her on the eve of what would have been her 39th birthday. Brandie was found, obviously, dead in her home on December 11th, and no one has ever been arrested in connection with her murder, and her case joined the huge amount of cases in the Indiana State cold case files. I mean, you cannot believe the people that are cold cases in Indiana, but the children that are cold cases just blows my mind. Now, we all know that Indiana ranks 48th in the 50 states for the worst solvability rate in their murders. So we know they don't have a really good track record. And there you go. Here we are with this case. And, you know, it's over 30 years ago and we still don't have any resolution. The group of gatherers at her gravesite has dwindled over the years, But those who came out on this Thursday evening said it was crucial that they continue to remember Brandie. You hate to see something like that happen to a child and to see them be forgotten about, said Argos resident Richard Warren. It's just not right. Gail Hull Heffley was Brandie's Girl Scout leader, and she said the young girl's death changed the town of Argos forever. Hey, Perry, I'm so glad to see you. Thank you for checking in on your vacation. I feel honored. I hope you're enjoying yourself wherever you are. I think when that happened, we all started locking everything up, doors, cars, and watched our kids because we didn't know if this guy was going to come back or who was going to be his next victim. It was a heart-wrenching story to hear that happened in our community. Family friend Sherry Rogers agrees. I think it took the innocence out of Argos. She was so young and it was so brutal that she needs justice. The Passerby, the novel that was written in 2008, helped generate some fresh leads when it was published. Police had released no new information based on those leads, however, but many residents are still holding out for a true break in this case. I think everybody in town thinks that maybe someday, somebody will come forward. I know everyone in town would like to see it solved. It's kind of a black mark over our town. Hang on, you guys, and I'll show you her picture. Just give me a minute here to share my screen. You gotta love StreamYard. Sometimes it's slower than molasses. Now here's Brandie. Here's a picture of her in 3rd grade, a picture of her in 4th grade, and this was her 5th grade picture. She was a cute little girl who did not deserve any of what happened to her, for sure. So it just leads me, like I said, it was one of the things that got me about this and about her case was when I started looking at all of these fires and all of these children that have passed away. Could Bridge Guy really be active out there, and could he be responsible for some of these unsolved crimes? Oh, good Lord, Michelle. I hope everything's okay. Please be safe. Hey, Digital, I didn't see you sneak in. How are you? Hope you're okay. Hey, Teresa, how are you? Good to see you. So, when we talk about who this guy is, whoever Bridge Guy is, and whether or not it's a Klein or whether it's someone else that we've never heard of before, I just think we have to look at everything, It bothers me that Indiana does not have a great track record on solving their crimes. I think that something needs to be done in that area. Something's wrong. I'm not saying that solving crime is an easy job, and I'm not trying to, again, throw law enforcement under the bus, but I think that when you are looking at statistics of what's going on out there, you cannot but help but wonder what the hell is happening in Indiana. And why are these cases not being solved? And especially when we're looking at these small towns where they don't have a lot of crime. They don't have a lot of murder. Sometimes these crimes, these murders, are the first murders in decades. And so, and especially when we're talking about children. So I think we need to, keep that in mind. There is another case that we're going to talk about really briefly here. But this is 13-year-old Alexandra Anaya, and she went missing August 13th of 2005. And her case is so, so sad. And this is the missing person poster that the FBI had for her. And it happened, she went missing in Hammond, Indiana on August 13th, 2005. And you can see, I believe that this is a some sort of a Catholic, I believe it's Catholic medallion. I don't know if it's St. Christopher or something else, but I believe that that's what is her necklace is. 13-year-old Alexandra Anaya was brutally murdered 11 years ago this month, and today the FBI's Chicago division, in close partnership with local authorities, marked the anniversary by requesting the public's assistance to help solve this case. The Indiana teen, known to friends and family as Alex, was reported missing from her home August 13th, 2005. She was last seen by her mother early that morning. 3 days later, boaters on the Little Calumet River in Chicago found her dismembered body floating in the water. Both the Chicago Police Department and the Hammond Police Department in Indiana conducted an exhaustive investigation at the time and have continued to follow leads since. But Alex's killer remains at large. Her case is one of many now being reviewed by the FBI, Chicago's recently established Homicide Initiative Task Force. We believe this was not a random act of violence and that Alex knew her assailant, said FBI Chicago Special Agent in Charge Michael Anderson during a press conference today in Chicago. It has been more than a decade since Alex was murdered, and during that time, people and relationships have changed. We are hopeful that someone will come forward now. The Homicide Initiative Task Force, a collaboration between the FBI and the CPD, was launched in April of 2016 to help local authorities solve some of Chicago's most violent murders. Task Force members re-examine cold cases with a fresh perspective and take advantage of the most current scientific techniques and forensic processes. The homicide rate is extremely high in Chicago. Because there are so many homicides here, a cold case could be 20 years old or a murder that occurred 6 months ago. CPD homicide detectives often have caseloads that are overwhelming. The task force is here to provide specialized assistance and help in any way we can. The assistance translates into FBI resources such as enhanced DNA testing, telephone record analysis, surveillance, and the deployment of Bureau experts, including dive teams, personnel, and members of the Behavioral Analysts Unit, commonly called profilers. In Alex's case, Corbett said, "We have been reviewing leads and re-interviewing individuals associated with the case. The DNA evidence has been well preserved, and we plan to use enhanced technology to exploit that evidence." She added that the task force members are fully invested in finding the killer. "We want to bring justice to Alex and other victims like her and their families. To do that and to ultimately reduce the homicide rate in Chicago, we all have to work together." So here we have another girl that was basically stolen, taken, whatever, from Hammond, Indiana. She was murdered and she was dismembered, and she was found in Chicago because she was thrown into a river. And again, it's just, Hi, David Gray. Yeah, you wonder about some of this. Yeah, Teresa, you're right. It is a border. Hammond and Chicago borderlines the two states. And it just makes you realize that there's a lot of stuff going. Hammond, I believe, was Alicia. It's there's a lot of stuff. It's like I said before, when you look at these counties in northern Indiana that surround Delphi, there are a lot of towns. There's a lot of places for Bridge Guy to be hiding in plain sight. And I just, I know that they were quick to say, that they didn't think that Lyric and Elizabeth, that their case was involved. Thought they came out too quickly myself to say that those cases were involved. But I do believe that all of this has to be looked at. And why do I say that? Well, let's go over something. So, in a homicide, all the theories, hold on a second, let me pull this back up on the screen here. I didn't mean to unshare my screen. I apologize, you guys. I'm going to share it again. David, I don't think it's rude to talk about it that way. We have to be careful when we do, because not all law enforcement is corrupt. Not all law enforcement are incompetent. There are law enforcement officers that want this case solved. There are law enforcement out there that do diligently work their cases every single day and work very hard. So we just have to be careful how we balance when we are saying things about law enforcement. That's my point to that. But in a homicide, all theories must be considered. All of them. No exception. There is no theory that may be considered on some grounds like it would upset the persons who are suspected. Law enforcement doesn't care if you don't like being a suspect, and neither does anyone else. There are no theories that are false right out of the starting gate because the people involved are too nice or groovy to do such a thing. I was a suspect in this crime myself. Quite a few silly, retarded, and brain-injured women, maybe a few dozen, reported me to the police for killing those girls. I even got a call from ISP detective, and I was not really worried, as I was in California the whole time. And in fact, I've not left this state for 3.5 years. Further, I have never set one foot in Indiana. It didn't really bother me that the detective called me. They have to consider all leads, and I was a viable suspect for the reason that the tipsters felt that I knew so much about the crime that I must have committed it. That's a reasonable hypothesis. However, all of that information was gleaned by me from available rumors about the crime. I didn't commit this crime, so I'm not worried about being charged or even people thinking I did it. People who wish to think I did this crime can continue to knock themselves out. Go for it. They can accuse me of committing any other nasty, unsolved crime out there too while they're at it. Actually, the nastier the crime is, the more they should accuse me of it. If I am as awful as my enemies think, there's clearly no limit to my depravity. Why should I care? I didn't do any of those nasty unsolved homicides out there. I'm quite certain of that. So my enemies can accuse me of these things until the cows come home. After considering all the theories so far, a theory promoted by two women from the area was brought to my attention. And this theory involved MP and CP. And the women felt that MP was definitely involved and CP may have been involved too. This was an interesting theory, but I feel that the evidence was not good. These are the types of things that drive me crazy. As I'm reading on, and this was an article in Politics Magazine written by Calvin the dog on May 22nd of 2017. And it goes on and on to talk about the family members being responsible, and all of this and all of the different rumors and everything. And it just keeps going on and on and on and on. And it's talking about all these horrible theories. And when I read this whole thing, I was just amazed that somebody actually took the time to put all of this together, because we have to be, I mean, this thing can go on. If you guys want to read it, I mean, it's awful. You can find it here. I'll put it's called Death of a Theory and Clearing of More POIs in the Delphi Murders. And it was in Politics Magazine, posted on May 22nd, 2017. And it was sent to me. And like I said, when I read through this, I was just absolutely appalled. And one of the things I want to say is, yes, we have to look at all evidence. We have to look at everything in every angle. And when I say we, I mean law enforcement, because we here, us, the people in YouTube land or in Facebook land or whatever, we're not investigators. And we don't have the ability to know all of the facts in the case. And so all these people that are out there on social media that are putting out some of the most bizarre things that they think happened, it just, I don't know, it's just hard for me. It's a really hard thing for me to watch and to not say anything. There's times when I really want to say something about it. And I have this rule in my head about not bashing people and not bashing content creators or other social media platforms for allowing this stuff to go out there. And we've discussed numerous times as to why people feel that they need to do that. Is it clicks? Is it views? What are they doing? What is their end game? And I'm just sticking with the end game I've always had, which is seeing the girls get their justice. Thanks, Jennifer. I think we both know which couple you're talking about. But I just think it's strange. I can set and do a Delphi show and it just goes great. Everything is, I get a lot of views, a lot of great comments on my stream, and lots of great things. And then I can do another case equally as interesting and horrific, and hardly anybody wants to watch that. And it's just like, I don't know. I can't figure out in my mind what brings so many people into Delphi and into the Delphi arena. And thank you, True Crime Web. I really try to be fair. It's we can't just say in a blanket statement that all of law enforcement are bad or that all of law enforcement's corrupt. We just can't. We have no evidence of that. Although I will tell you, I did watch a really, really interesting YouTube video today, and I was going through some stuff, and somehow I have misplaced what it was. And I don't even know who it was that put it out. But if you guys get a chance to go watch, let me see if I can find it. Hold on a second. Because I would show it. It's like only 11 minutes. I don't know who put it out. It makes me mad that I closed the window and I meant to leave it open. Somebody again sent it to me, sent me the link and told me to watch it. Let me see if I can find it this way. See if it comes up. No, it wasn't strange. It was what was the word? Something. Oh, I know where to find it. Hold on a minute. Just give me 1 second, guys. Let me go out here. Facebook. Shady. Yeah. Yeah, here it is. Found it. Let me switch. You guys might find this interesting. I did.
I'm Dawn, and I run a company called Jockful. We make one-of-a-kind websites just like these.
All right. The reason that I did find this is because of the corruption in Carroll County. And I firmly believe that there is corruption in Carroll County. And I know that that's a big statement, but I firmly and absolutely believe it with everything that I've researched over 5 years in this case. So let's take a look at this video if you guys haven't seen it. Hope you can hear it. I will preface it that that's as loud as it gets. Make sure that you read what's on the screen because that's going to help you understand what's happening. But this is a meeting that just happened on the 23rd of June, 2022. This is really important. This is a meeting of the Election Commission in Carroll County, and they are investigating the corruption in the election primary that happened in May with Tony Liggett. So you guys just watch this and listen. So he's just asked Mr. Ryan Munden to come forward. He is the attorney for the Election Commission in Carroll County, and he's going to talk to them. So just listen.
section that permits the grants the authority of the election board to assess civil fines that relates primarily to campaign finance reports, things of that nature. With respect to other violations alleged, such lawsuits pending, the only authority that the county election board has with respect to those violations is to refer it to the prosecutor's office for prosecution. County election board has no authority beyond that.
Down here, Maria and everybody, is what he's saying. This has been typed out as to what he's actually saying. But the important thing is to try to listen, but watch what comes up on the screen, because who made this video pulls the important things out.
Related to those violations, at some point the court will hear a substantive order on that lawsuit. So with respect to those violations, the authority is limited only to the referral, nothing beyond that. And there's also allegations of a federal act violation that is definitely not within the purview of the county election board. In fact, that code section, C, authorizes only the Office of Special Counsel for the United States government to investigate.
When it's all done, you guys, I'll give you a synopsis of what happened. Here he's basically telling what the board can investigate and what the board cannot. Now, if you remember, right before this played, they showed on the screen that the county was given a lawsuit. A civil lawsuit was filed against the county because of election practices and the fact that they also have a federal investigation into Hatch Act violations as well. There's a lot going on around this election, and the attorney here is trying to tell the commission and everyone who's listening what their scope is on investigating election disparities, whether it be campaign finance, because everybody has to write out a report when they give to an election. They have to fill out a form, and they have to put down their name, their legal address, their legal job, and all of that. And there was some things called into question in this election that's going to come up in this meeting. And I think it was Alicia, who just told us that Debbie Lowe is in the audience, and Debbie Lowe writes for the Carroll County Comet. So you guys need to kind of pay attention. I will go through. We won't watch the whole thing, but I want some of it to get through. So just a minute. The plaintiffs in this lawsuit notified the U.S. Office of Special Counsel of the alleged Hatch Act violations prior to filing their civil lawsuit in Carroll County Circuit Court. That's important. A separate federal investigation of the county is already underway. So this is the head of the election commission right here. And he is, after listening to this guy speak, the attorney, he's going to make a motion here, what his recommendations are as far as what the commission does regarding the allegations against them. He says, we're going to take no action. Due to the pending lawsuit, we would take no action until after that lawsuit has been decided. What? Hello? That is not how that's supposed to work. And he was just told that by the attorney that was standing in front of him. And then after the court decides, we'll reconvene to do something that's not very professional, but that would be my motion. He admits that it's not professional. He admits basically that it's not what his attorney just advised him that he was legally responsible to do, but it's what he's going to do anyway. So they just passed that motion to do absolutely nothing.
Okay, and then about the complaint, I think it was.
So this is Debbie Lowe from the Carroll County Comment, and she is going to put his feet to the fire.
Stated that the election board isn't going to take any action until after the lawsuit is settled through the court. Did I get that right? Did I get that right? And then the action that would be taken would be addressing the actual complaints.
Because the court will be settled, and that the lawsuit will be settled, the court decides, the court decides.
Yeah.
And then we'll pick out, we'll make a decision upon it.
So he's going to wait and find out what the court decides before he makes a decision on what they're going to do. And that is not how this is supposed to work. He is supposed to send this information that they find that they already know is wrong and that there were errors made. That's supposed to go to the prosecutor's office for prosecution. He is supposed to send it to the prosecutor's office, but he's just told them he's not going to do this. He's going to wait to see what the court decides. And this is ridiculous. These people in this county, I am like, and it's at every level. When you watch their city council meetings, when you whatever, I mean the county commissioner meetings, it's just crazy. And Jennifer, you said shady, and the person who did this video called it shady things. Not Stranger Things, but shady things. It is amazing. But anyway, listen to Debbie Lowe when she asked him this question. And it's funny because you have to look at the blank stare on his face, and the lady who has her hand on her mouth that's looking at him out of the corner of her eye. I mean, you got to watch the body language here.
On the issues of the complaint. Okay. And then the other thing is that you voted, well, your attorney said that anything other than family findings, we'll say that, things that in general, right. And then everything else is a referral to the prosecutor's office. But you voted to take no action until after.
Everything else is a referral to the prosecutor's office, and he chose to do nothing. I mean, look at his face. He's just like, what do you mean?
So are you waiting? Would you be referring to the prosecutor's office? Because you didn't say anything about that.
Yeah, because we haven't made a decision. We're not going to make that decision until it happens.
So even though their attorney has told them, you by law are supposed to turn this over to the prosecutor's office, he's not going to make that decision. But we're not going to make that decision until after the court makes its decision, because we don't know what we're going to do yet. Call that breaking the law? See? So one doesn't affect the other. That's not how politics, that's not how any of this is supposed to work. They have laws they have to follow, just like anybody else. They write these laws for specific reasons. And this guy is absolutely on camera breaking it, and he doesn't seem to care. This is where it gets interesting. Prior to filing this civil lawsuit, the plaintiffs sent the original complaint directly to the Carroll County Board of Elections and formally requested that an investigation begin. That's these people that you're looking at on the screen, you guys. But the election board chose to ignore the complaint, resulting in a civil lawsuit that was filed against the county. So if you remember in the beginning when they talked about that, when they showed in the little black boxes, the people that filed the complaint, that did the civil complaint, they went to the election board first. They went to the election commission board first and asked them to please do an investigation into this, what we're bringing to you. They chose not to, which resulted in a civil lawsuit being brought against the county.
Okay. So you wouldn't go ahead and make a decision about the complaints? I mean, you guys have already reviewed the campaign finance reports, but there are some questions there still.
So we'll stop it here, but you guys can go out and watch this. Hang on a second, and I'll drop the YouTube channel. That's where you guys can go watch it. What I think is funny, and David, I get what you're saying, but when they're actually on camera and they are convicting themselves, I'm going to show it and call it out every single time. And, you know, we just need an investigation of this county at some level beyond their own. They obviously cannot police themselves. I don't know how many voters in Carroll County are aware that this stuff is actually going on, because I don't know how many people actually watch these things. You know, these board meetings and these commissioner meetings, they're all televised by law. They have to be. And a lot of people just don't get that into their local government. But everybody is complaining about nationally what's happening in our country. And I'm here to tell you, the way to change your government is not at the federal level. You have to start by doing it at your local level, because the local government is what affects us most. That's the things that affect us day to day. And these guys are not effectively doing their jobs for this county. And when Debbie Lowe talks to them on the rest of this video, when she's talking to them about the fact that Tony Liggett had errors on his campaign finance form and they gave it back to him to fix, and then he still has errors on it again. I mean, come on. And this is the guy that the sheriff's department so adamantly wants to win this election, who they want in place to be the next Carroll County sheriff. They are not just handpicking him, they're forced feeding him to their constituents, in my opinion. And SD's right. This is common. This is common. And we don't have enough people that I just think you have to remember that it all starts with the local level. And I wish and hope that the people of Carroll County wake up before it's too late, because I think there's a lot of stuff going on in this county, and a lot more than people think, and possibly a change of some of these people's positions would help some of these cases get solved. So it's just an opinion. I mean, you know, I it's just my opinion. And I agree with you, Meow Zedong. I really do. I don't think people know how corrupt everything is and has been. I don't think people want to think of that. I mean, none of us want to be lied to. None of us want to feel like we've all been raised to believe and to trust. And I think we've seen over the last 6 years at least that we can't always trust and believe the things that we think we do. And so it's really important for the people of this county to get on board and to start paying attention a little bit more to what is going on in their county. It's just how I feel. I know that preaching about it, you know, is not going to really change much, but I really do hope and pray that people start listening to what's happening, because if this was going on in my county, I would be at every board meeting. I would be standing up. I would be filling out the commenter card so that I could be there and comment on what they were doing. I mean, it's just, I went up against our local school board when my grandsons were in grade school because they were doing some really bad underhanded things, and in their school, their particular school for one, and I took on the president of the school board. I basically set out on a campaign to get her fired because she was absolutely not helping our local community. And I'm here to tell you, you know, we marched, we had very peaceful demonstrations. We took to the streets. We went to all the meetings. I contacted the State Board of Education. I talked to them. I talked to their president. I did everything in my power. And I want you to know it took 3 years, but we got her fired. And you know what's amazing is that she left. She became the assistant superintendent of the Houston School District, public school district. She ended up getting fired from there as well. So we weren't wrong in what was happening here. She went on to a bigger place and ended up getting fired there as well. So it, you know, you might feel like you're just one little person and what can I do to make a difference? But it only takes a few voices to start rallying to get that fire going. And for people to realize that it's important to stand up for what is right. Michelle said, believe half of what you see and nothing of what you hear, was my grandmother's saying. My grandmother and my mother said that. And I agree with you. It makes Meows the Dong crazy because they spent their own taxpayer money on their own lawsuits to hide things from the public. I mean, it's rampant. And it is so hot, isn't it though? I'm telling you, man, I don't know what the temperature is outside, but it was 98 here today. And with high humidity, and I can just tell you right now that I'm feeling like, man, yeah, it's 89 here. I mean, it's 9:30 at night and it's 89 degrees outside. I'm like, oh, yeah, I know, Jennifer. And the humidity. And actually, I don't know if you guys noticed, knock on wood, I've had a really good night with no coughing. So I do think my up in my asthma meds has helped. So I think I'm coming out of the stint with pneumonia and getting over all of that. So that makes me feel good. But yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys because when I ran across that today, there are some shady things going on in Delphi. For sure. Or Carroll County, I guess I should say. Yeah, Michelle, it's hey, Tech Deaf, I'm sorry. Are you okay? Oh, I hate hearing that. We were supposed to have really bad ones tonight and tomorrow. And I like storms. I like listening to it rain and stuff. But I really don't want you to get blown away or have anything, really bad stuff. So, but I bet the lightning is. I like lightning storms, but they can be so dangerous because they can start fires and stuff. And I'm just closing some of this. Sorry, guys. I hate having all this stuff open. It drives me crazy. So, hey, Lynn, thank you for the email. If you're still in here, I appreciate it. I will look at those later, but thank you so much for sending me that. I appreciate it. So other than that, I think that's pretty much all I was going to talk about tonight. Oh, I hope you did. Yeah, that for sure you want to do that. Hold on. I was looking for something. There are so many people. Oh. No. I'm looking for something. I'll be right back. Sorry. Oh, so cute. I think I found it. There you are, big guy. All right. So since I didn't do it at the beginning of the show, I'm going to do it at the end of the show. So we're going to, tonight's missing person is Kyron Richard Horman. A lot of you probably know of Kyron's story. Yes, Jennifer, I would like to invite all of my mods back to my Discord after the show, to the mod Discord, please. I would like to talk to all of you. So if you could come after the show, I would appreciate it. Yes, Kyron went missing on June 4th, 2010 in Portland, Oregon. And this is a picture of him when he went missing. What a cute little boy. And this is an age progressed photograph to what he would be now, be age 19 to 20. He was born in Oregon. He has brown hair and blue eyes. He was 3'8" at the time of his disappearance, and he weighed 50 pounds. He has a distinctive V-shaped strawberry birthmark on his forehead. He was last seen wearing a black t-shirt with letters CSI in green and a handprint graphic on it, black cargo pants, white socks, and black Skechers sneakers with orange trim. He wears metal framed glasses. So this is the picture of him that he was last seen. This is his last seen photograph. And that's the shirt that he had on. Kyron has been missing from Skyline Elementary School in Portland, Oregon since June the 4th of 2010. He was last seen that morning after attending a science fair at the school. If you have any information concerning this case, please contact the local tip line at 503-261-2847. So it's a horrible story. And in my mind, I agree with FJ that his stepmom is probably the one responsible for his disappearance. But such a sad story. What a cute little boy, and such potential. It's just terrible. And there's so many just like him out there. And, there's just, like I said, there's just so many. You go looking and it's just incredible. One of the things that I wanted to say when I close the show tonight and when we talk about it, oh Lord, somebody's blowing up my Reddit. That was all my Reddit. Was that in regards to law enforcement and the law enforcement individuals that are working the Abby and Libby case, the Florida 4 girls case, all of them, I just want to extend to them that, we are pulling for you. We know how hard you guys work. We know that it's not easy what you do. I know that it's easy for us to criticize and think we could do better. But in actuality, that's just human nature, to sit from the sidelines and the outside and look inward and just criticize, because we're all so frustrated that we want this case to be solved. So people lash out, and people, people don't know where else to send the blame. So they send it to the law enforcement officers. And I want to say to all the law enforcement officers who may follow me or who are out there, I commend you for what you guys do. It's not easy. And I pray for your safety on the job and your families. And I hope that everyone has a really great rest of your week. I'm glad that you come and visit with me here and we can talk about these things. I appreciate you all so very much. And it breaks my heart, in Highland Park, I'm going to cry. Dang it. Sorry, you guys. In Highland Park this week, yesterday, there were officers killed. People lost their lives. And God, I'm sorry. And it's heartbreaking. It's absolutely heartbreaking. And anyway, I'm so glad that I have you all and that you are all here. And I'm glad to see that Michelle is going to be bringing snacks to the meeting. And Maria, I love you. Thank you so very much for that. I need that hug. And Michelle, I'm wrought with just emotion over it every time. I don't know. I just feel like I heard that there was, Jennifer, and I could be wrong, but maybe it was one of those headlines that you see that's not true. But anyway, with all of that being said, I have a lot going on at the end of this week. I have family in for a family reunion, a big one. And so I'm going to be here Thursday night. So don't worry, I should be here fine. I won't be here on Saturday night, but I will be here on Sunday night. So this weekend will be different for me. Instead of on Saturday, we'll be seeing you guys on Sunday. It's okay, Esty. I just I appreciate you, and I'm glad that you understand. It's not always becoming to sit and cry in front of people, but sometimes things just get to me and my tears come. So I just, wanted to say that to you. I love you all. Be safe out there, and I will see you guys all on Thursday night. Have a good evening, everyone.